Hey good people, welcome to Melanated Vibrations, a new show that celebrates the diversity and richness of Black culture. Join us as we delve into our individual mental health and overall mental health of our community. From the latest trends to the timeless coping mechanisms, we'll showcase the best of what it means to be mentally healthy. So sit back, relax, and get ready to feel the vibrations of Black excellence. Let's get started.
Hey guys, happy Monday. Welcome to Melanated Vibrations. It's your girl Dom, aka the therapist, aka Destiana, from time to time. It's good to have everyone here back again on Mondays at Melanated Vibrations on the BEN, the Big Exclusive Network. I'm so glad you guys could join me. We are 1 week away from Christmas. For those that celebrate it, we are 1 week away. Are you guys done your shopping yet? Have you even started your shopping yet? Do you have things coming in this week from Amazon? I know I'm an Amazon girl. I'm a last minute shopper. I literally just put my tree up yesterday. Judge your mama, don't judge me. Okay. So yeah, Christmas is not my thing. I think I told you guys that, but when you have a kid, you got to do it, right? So let me know, how are you guys feeling? How was your weekend? I hope everyone had a great weekend. I hope you guys did not get caught in that rain yesterday. It was raining a little bit today, but eventually it stopped. So I had a really good weekend. A very good weekend, actually. It was a really good weekend. And now it's Monday, and now we're back to business, back to the usual hustle and bustle. So if you are on the stream, please make sure that you are tagging your folks in. Make sure you are sharing the stream. If you are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the Big Exclusive Network. You're going to subscribe. You're going to share. You're going to tag your friends in. If you're on Facebook, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go to the Big Exclusive Network Facebook page. You're going to follow the page. You're going to share the page. And you're going to tag all your friends in on this podcast because, this ain't the only show. This is just where it starts. So, again, welcome to Melanated Vibrations. If you are just joining, it's your girl Dom, a.k.a. the therapist, a.k.a. Destiana. So, tonight's going to be a really good topic, but I'm not going to hold you guys long because my boys play in about an hour and some change. Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles play. If you know, you know. Shout out to them Cowboys losing yesterday. Love that for y'all. Shout out to all my Cowboys fans. Sorry, not sorry. There's that. That's why I got the green on. Eagles, right? Today we play. So, sending some prayers and loves up to my boys because, we need this win. I mean, we clutched our spot in the playoffs, but we need this. Hey, Auntie, exactly. Showtime. So, hey, Royalty. Hey, Hannibal. Hey, be right back. So, listen. Hey, Luke. I'm so glad you finally make it. Hey, Big Exclusive. So, yes, we are playing this evening. I think the game starts at 8:25 or something like that. So we're gonna have a good show tonight, but it ain't gonna be long. It's not gonna be how it usually be because I got to watch the game. Gotta go cook dinner and watch the game. So I am bringing into this space. I got it till 8. I got it. I'm not gonna rush y'all past 8 o'clock. I am setting my not first of all, what I'm cooking you don't eat. So, what am I bringing into this space? I am setting my intention. I am bringing into this space, hopefully some awareness, some knowledge. I always like teaching you guys. I hate when terms are used incorrectly. Y'all know that really burns my gears. It's like a thing for me. I don't understand why people just throw words around and not use it properly. So I would say I am bringing into this space some information, some education. Drop in the comments what you guys are bringing into this space. Let me know, how was your weekend? How do you feel? Set your intention. Go grab you a glass of wine. I got my glass per usual. Because some days it be like that. It's cold outside. Again, we're counting down to the holidays, so it is time to start celebrating. Because why not? Yes, gratefulness. I love that. I love that. We love gratefulness. Well, Auntie, come on now, Auntie. You got to go on and get the wine before you pull up on Melanated Vibrations. You got to have it already prepared for yourself, okay? Because one thing we're gonna do on this show is we're gonna drink. We're gonna have us a little drinky drink. So let's get started. Tonight I want to talk about 3 mental illnesses or mental disorders that, one, not really a mental disorder, but one that I know seems to be very prevalent in the Black and Brown community. So tonight we're going to talk about ADHD. We are going to talk about BPD for those that are not familiar. Yes, love. I love that. Be right back. Yes, happiness, Hannibal. I'm very glad to hear that. Positive vibes. Hey, Lil. BPD, for those that are not familiar, is borderline personality disorder. And we are also going to talk about PTSD, which is short for post-traumatic stress disorder. At the very end, we're going to talk about some boundaries, because I realize that it's something that I always hint to, but we never really get a chance to talk about it. With the holidays coming up, a lot of us are about to be around family that we do not like. Some family we cannot stand. And so we're going to talk about boundaries, how to navigate through that, especially if you are around family that unfortunately has made you uncomfortable due to some circumstances that we are still working through, we are still healing from. Let's work on not being as triggered and how to navigate through that, and how no is a complete sentence. So that is what we are going to do this evening. So we are going to get started with ADHD. So as many of you know, we hear the term ADHD a lot. A lot of times it is the diagnosis is given to our little Black and brown children, right? Like when a kid is like super hyperactive, jumping all around, can't stay still, the first diagnosis, unfortunately, is ADHD, right? That is usually the first diagnosis that children are given. All children do not have ADHD. Some children really just are hyperactive. Like they just cannot keep still. They just want to move around. They just want to have a good time. They want to be kids, right? So what's wrong with being a kid? So let's kind of break down what ADHD is, how it presents, what it looks like, so you guys can be more informed. So what is ADHD? ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It is marked by an ongoing pattern of inattention and or hyperactivity impulsivity that interferes with functioning or development. So people with ADHD experience an ongoing pattern of the following types of symptoms. So they have either inattention, which it means that a person may have difficulty staying on task. I don't know about you guys, but that's me. I have a really hard time staying on task. I get distracted very easily. I'm gonna be honest. I will literally start cleaning something and be like, "Oh, let me go put a load of clothes in." Like that's not even what you was thinking about. But we all do it, right? So does that mean we all have ADHD or ADD, attention a deficit or adult deficit disorder? Nah. But let's finish. And so you have a difficulty time staying on task, sustaining, being focused, staying organized, and these problems are not due to defiance or lack of comprehension. Again, these problems are not due to defiance, like you just choosing not to do it, or you just don't comprehend. So someone that has the inattention part of ADHD literally has difficulty staying on task and difficulty focusing. The hyperactivity means a person may seem to move about constantly, including in situations when it's not appropriate, or excessively fidgeting, tapping, or talking. In adults, hyperactivity may mean extreme restlessness or talking too much. So just think, do we know anyone that may seem like they're constantly moving, constantly fidgeting, constantly talking? We think like, okay, they're just nervous, maybe they're talking. This is the second symptom of if you are diagnosed with ADHD. Then we have impulsivity. It is literally that you are impulsive. It means a person may act without thinking or having difficulty with self-control. Impulsivity could also include a desire for immediate reward or the inability to delay gratification. So, an impulsive person may interrupt others or make important decisions without considering the long term consequences. So, again, ADHD is inattentive, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Impulsivity meaning just being impulsive, making a decision, not thinking about the long term goal, and having absolutely no self control. I'm sure we can all think of someone that we know that has been diagnosed with ADHD or maybe hasn't, but they kind of meet these symptoms. So, what are the signs and symptoms of ADHD now that I've given you guys the types of symptoms? So, some people with ADHD mainly have symptoms of inattention. Others mostly have symptoms of hyperactivity slash impulsivity. Some people have both types. Many people experience some inattention, unfocused motor activity, and impulsivity, but for people with ADHD, these behaviors are more severe, they occur more often, and they interfere or reduce the quality of how they function socially at school or at a job. So, this is how it may play out. So, if you have the inattention, people with symptoms of inattention may often overlook or miss details and make seemingly careless mistakes in schoolwork, at work, or doing other activities. So, they're just moving so fast, right? They're not paying attention, making small, minor mistakes. They have difficulty sustaining attention during play or tasks such as conversations, lectures, or lengthy reading. Um, they seem not to be listening when they're spoken directly to. So it's like you're talking to them, their mind or their face may even seem like they're wandering off somewhere else. They find it hard to follow through on instructions or finish schoolwork, chores, or duties in the workplace. Or may start tasks but lose focus and get easily sidetracked. I told y'all that's what I do. I clean my house every Saturday and Sunday. I will literally start with like, okay, my goal is to go downstairs and to fix breakfast first and then put a load of clothes in. And before you know it, before I can even get the breakfast in the oven, I just started the load of clothes. I just started vacuuming. The oven has gone off to tell me that it is time to put the stuff in the oven. And I've done 62 other things because I got distracted so easily. So if you're that person, you understand exactly what I'm saying. They have difficulty organizing tasks and activities. So doing tasks in a sequence, keeping material and belongings in order, managing time and meeting deadlines is hard for someone when they have ADHD, when it's the inattention. Avoid tasks that require sustained mental effort. So if it's too much, like if it just requires too much mental effort, they're going to avoid it at all costs, such as homework, right? Or for teens and older adults, preparing reports, completing forms, or reviewing lengthy papers. So, someone that has ADHD, when it comes to having to use too much brain power, they will simply procrastinate. They will try to do everything else but sit there and focus on what it is that they need to do. So I remember being in college and I love writing papers. Like that's always been my thing. Like I don't know. I'm weird like that. I can write a paper. Yeah, right. Luke, I understand that. Just take a nap in the middle of the day, lay it on down. We'll try this again later, right? And so, someone with ADHD that don't want to use too much brain power, they literally will avoid the task. So they may do something like what Luke said, like they may just lay down in the middle of the day, knowing they have an assignment to turn in, a report to do. They will just lay down and just be like, you know what, I'm not doing it. Like I can't. This requires too much brain power, so I'm not going to do it. Or they may start the paper, and then once they start the paper, and then realize like, okay, I really got to sit here and think about what I'm writing, they will literally get up. They'll turn the TV on. They'll get into one of their shows. And it's like, wait a minute, get back focused. You have a task to complete. I know because I've done this. um, they lose things necessary for tasks or activities, such as school supplies, pencils, books, tools, wallets, keys, paperwork, eyeglasses, and cell phones. They will literally lose anything because, again, they're not paying attention. It's the inattentiveness. Be easily distracted by unrelated thoughts or stimuli, something that may have nothing to do. This is where sometimes those intrusive thoughts get the best of people that have ADHD, because their brain is literally doing this back and forth constantly. And so they are trying to slow their brain down and focus on a thing, but their brain literally does not slow down long enough for them to do so. Be forgetful in daily activity, such as chores, errands, returning calls, and keeping appointments. So this is the inattentive part of ADHD. This is kind of some examples of what it looks like. Now let's talk about the hyperactivity, or the hyperactivity and impulsivity. So people with symptoms of hyperactivity and impulsivity may often fidget and squirm while seated. So they can't keep still in their seats. You may see them do this often, or like swinging their legs or moving their arms, things like that. They leave their seats in situations when staying seated is expected, such as in the classroom or the office. They run, they dash around, or climb at inappropriate times, or in teens and adults, they often feel restless. They're unable to play or engage in hobbies quickly, or quietly, should I say. So they can't really, like if we playing, I don't know, whatever game you need to be quiet, like if we're playing tag or hide and go seek. Not a good person to play hide and go seek with. Don't hide in my corner because you're about to talk. You're going to get both of us caught. So they are constantly in motion or on the go, or act as if driven by a motor. They are talking excessively. They answer questions before they are fully asked, finish other people's sentences, or speak without waiting for a turn in a conversation. They have difficulty waiting one's turn. They interrupt or intrude on others, for example, in conversations, games, or activity. So I will share this. My son has been diagnosed with ADHD. It took me a really long time. I was like, I ain't nothing wrong with him. Child, he fine. He just be bouncing around. And then I'm like, wait, we're not even giving him a lot of sugar. So whatever. So my son is diagnosed with ADHD and oppositional defiant disorder, which ODD for short. And I see this a lot with the hyperactivity, impulsivity. A lot of my son's teachers, they will complain that Joseph just gets up and gets out his chair when it's not time to get up out of his chair. He's constantly moving. He does not, he actually does not allow me to like finish my question. It's like he'll try to answer it way before I actually ask whatever the question is that I'm trying to ask. Because again, people with ADHD, their brains are constantly going this way. It's back and forth. It's a constant battle. So they kind of perceive that they think they know what you're going to ask, but they actually do not. So it's funny when you read these type of things and then you have a personal experience with it. Hey, Creamy. So it's always funny. So I would say for that part, my son has both, of course, the inattentiveness, but also extreme hyperactivity and impulsivity, where he is very, very, very impulsive. I actually have a video. We can show the first video of kind of what this looks like. It's a short.
I thought you had an appointment today. Yeah, but that's not until, oh my god, it's in 10 minutes. Why are you just sitting there then? Go. I would, but I don't know where my keys are. Okay, where's the last place you saw them? Last time I was in the car, I was with Sarah and we got ice cream. Actually, did I tell you about that? Because that was a really funny. Olivia. Okay, I'm sorry, let me think. Oh, hold on, is it actually under that? I get it, I know I need to work at this, but can we talk about it after? No, I was just saying, is it under that bag? Oh, yeah. Oh my god, wait, there's my ring too. I'm gonna go.
So that is what ADHD looks like. That is what ADHD looks like, right? So someone that has it, literally their thought process, listen, be right back. Listen, exactly, Creamy. Do I think a lot of us have it? Absolutely. I absolutely think a lot of us have it. I think for me, my biggest struggle is as a therapist, misdiagnosing people. And I tell you guys this all the time. I've lost clients because they've come to me with diagnosis and I'm like, I don't see it. Like, I don't see these symptoms. I have no clue what they told you. Why would they say that to you? But I don't see it. I'm really big on not diagnosing people. Hey sis, shout out to my sis Adairess, who is my co-host. Wait, I get on this side. Who is my co-host, the other half of Melanated Vibration. She just stopped in to show her love. She is in the middle of finals. She is in her master's program. As always, we wish her well. Hopefully she'll be bringing her ass back at the top of the year. I had to pull up at her house and just do the show from her house, and then she won't have no choice but to be involved. So we are wishing her well. Good luck on your final, sis. I know you're going to kill it. I know you're going to make it do what it do. If you need me, I'm here to walk you through it, not to do your homework for you, but I will help you out if you need it. So love you. So that is literally what ADHD looks like. Your brain will literally, you will bounce from task to task to task to task. You have the inattention where you're not really paying attention to small details. You'll have the hyperactivity and impulsivity where you will just make rash decisions, impulsiveness, fidgety, moving all around, things like that. Bye, sis. So now let's talk about BPD, borderline personality disorder. So what is borderline personality disorder? Borderline personality disorder is a mental illness that, she gonna crush it. It's a mental illness that severely impacts a person's ability to manage their emotions. This loss of emotional control can increase impulsivity, affect how a person feels about themselves, and negatively impact their relationship with others. Effective treatments are available that can help people manage the symptoms of borderline personality disorder. So again, BPD is borderline personality disorder. Very different than multiple personality disorder. People with borderline personality disorder may experience intense mood swings and feel uncertainty about how they see themselves. Their feelings for others can change quickly and swing from extreme closeness to extreme dislike. These changing feelings can lead to unstable relationships and emotional pain. I always make the joke, no offense to any Geminis out there, but I think all Geminis have BPD, some type of borderline personality disorder, because you guys are two faces. So the way that y'all switch personalities very quickly is crazy to me. I'm not saying y'all got BPD. I'm just saying what I said. There's that. There we go. I agree, right? Gemini's, BPD, they created this disorder for you guys. It's crazy. It's pure insanity. Shout out to all my Geminis out there. I don't care. I don't like you guys anyway. It's all right. So what are the signs and symptoms of BPD, aka borderline personality disorder? So people with borderline personality disorder also tend to view things in extremes, right? The text messages that come through while I'm on the show, Big Exclusive, I really be seeing what you be saying. It's wild, right? So they have really extreme views on things. Like everything's just to the extreme, such as all good or all bad. There's no gray area. There's nothing in between for them. Their interests and values can quickly change, and they may act impulsively or reckless. Other signs and symptoms may include effort to avoid real or perceived abandonment, such as plunging headfirst into a relationship or ending them just as quickly. It does. And you just got to like bounce back and act like you paid attention. Hey, OG, shout out to OG, who is 2/3 of the Big Exclusive podcast, comes on Tuesdays at 7. So make sure y'all tap back in tomorrow, okay, on the BEN, because, you know, we just be bringing y'all shows and stuff. So yeah, someone that has these symptoms, again, they are, they try to avoid real situations, which may look like abandonment. Again, they plunge headfirst into a relationship, or they end them just as quickly because in their mind, they will self-sabotage the relationship. A pattern of intense or unstable relationships with family, friends, and loved ones. They'll do it quickly. Again, it's got to be all Geminis. I'm not. Be right back and goodbye. And we're not doing that. We're not doing that. It doesn't matter what it said. It said something. A distorted and unstable self-image or a sense of self. Impulsive and often dangerous behavior, such as spending sprees, big exclusive mind your business. This kind of person will have they may just go to the mall and just blow it, right? They're impulsive. They'll just go, they'll spend a bunch of money. They may have unsafe sex. They may misuse substance, reckless driving, binge eating is also a form of it. And however, if the behavior happens mostly during times of elevated mood or energy, they may be symptoms of a mood disorder and not borderline personality disorder. So that is two different things. Borderline personality disorder is one of the personality disorders. A mood disorder is something that is classified like bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder, depression, are mood disorders because it affects and changes your mood. Personality disorders like BPD are things that do exactly what they say. They affect the personality. Schizophrenia, some form of psychosis, borderline personality disorder are considered personality disorders. So they are two different things. Self-harming behavior, such as cutting. Someone that with BPD could do this. Reoccurring thoughts of suicidal behavior or threats. Intense and highly variable moods. Like their mood is constantly changing, right? With episodes lasting from a few hours to a few days. So a person that has borderline personality disorder, if they are in an episode, it can literally last for a few hours or up to a few days. Chronic feelings of emptiness. Again, they have a distorted view and an unstable self-image or sense of self. And so a chronic feeling of emptiness would go hand in hand. Inappropriate, intense anger or problems controlling their anger, where they will just lash out, they'll just snap out, right? Or feelings of disassociation, feeling as such, like being cut off from oneself, right? So they feel like they're being cut off. They feel isolated. They have a distorted sense of self, sense of self and self-image. Observing oneself from outside of one's body. You ever hear somebody say they feel like they had an outer body experience? People with borderline personality disorder, often you may hear them say this a lot, where it seems like they are literally having an outer body experience where they can watch themselves from the outside of their bodies. Or they may just have a feeling of unreality, like they don't feel like they are tuned in, they're not here with us, may even feel like an episode on the Twilight Zone. Not everyone with borderline personality disorder will experience all of these symptoms. The severity, frequency, and duration of symptoms depends on the person and their illness. People with borderline personality disorder have a significantly higher rate of self-harming and suicidal behavior than the general population. If you know anybody that has borderline personality disorder, that, unfortunately, they are at higher risk of having suicidal ideation, suicidal attempts, self-harming behavior, 988 is the suicide hotline. You can text it or you can call it. I believe it is 988lifeline.org is the website. You can also go on there and chat someone, but dial 988. You can text 988 if you are having any type of feelings of suicide, you want to harm yourself, you're thinking about harming someone else. 988, they made it very simple, 3 numbers. If you are in immediate danger, please call 911. If you can't even fathom picking up a phone to text and having a back and forth exchange, please call 911. If you are stable enough to take yourself to a local crisis center, I think that's really important that we know where our local crisis centers are, not even more or less just for ourselves, but for our friends, our families. The holidays, again, we're coming up on our second holidays. Things are going to be hard for people. We're coming up on a new year. So make sure you're checking on your friends. Make sure y'all checking on your strong friends, right? We said this last time, those people that, they take on so much of everybody else's stuff and people are constantly trauma dumping on them and constantly pouring into them, or, dumping onto them, but no one's actually pouring anything into them. No one's checking on them. Hey, did you eat today? How are you feeling today? Is there anything I can do? Do I just need to sit here and listen? So please check on your strong friends, your strong family members. that are like the glue that kind of keeps everything together. Because again, we're coming up on another holiday and things are hard for people. So we always want to make sure that we are checking in on people's mental health, because you will literally have someone that will smile, that will be happy, that will make everyone else happy in the room, and then they will go home and they will self-harm themselves. Again, I tell you guys this all the time. You can follow me, my at melanated_vibrations on Instagram. DM me if you're seeking a therapist, or if it's not me, I can help you find a therapist. But I would rather you guys be here on the podcast, call, blow my phone up after 8 o'clock, and though goes on do not disturb, than me getting an obituary and having to be at your funeral because you were afraid to reach out. So I always want to make sure I convey that message to you guys, again, because we are coming up on the holidays and life just be lifing. Can we just talk about that for a second? Life be lifing. Life got hands. She definitely could fight. I thought I could fight. Sis really got hands. Like, she really about that life. I don't know what kind of steroids she be on sometimes. It feel like she be right up there, but seriously, life gets the best of us sometimes, and sometimes we are isolated and we close ourselves off and we think that we're a burden to people, and we would rather just not be here. I'd rather you guys burden me, get on my damn nerves, me telling you, texting and calling me too much, than for me not to be able to engage and to have you here forever. So there's that. Again, if you are feeling suicidal, know anyone that's suicidal, 988 dial or text the number, or you can go to 988lifeline.org. That is their website. If you are in immediate danger, please pick up the phone and call 911. And if you can, get to your local crisis center, or again, if you have a friend that struggles with anything, see what the local crisis center is. And it's okay, right? To 302 somebody that you love. Because again, we would rather have them here than to not have them. So I actually have a video, I believe. Wait a minute, got a couple videos. Let's play the second video on borderline personality disorder.
4 types of BPD. The first type, discouraged. People with this type can have an intense fear of abandonment, and that fear can be real or imagined. Type number 2, impulsive. This can lead to us binge eating, overspending, engaging in risky sexual behavior, self-injuring, just to name a few. The third type, self-destructive. In this type, we can sabotage ourselves and our relationships, and we may or may not be aware that we're doing it. The fourth and final type, petulant. This type struggles most with the mood dysregulation that can come along with BPD, meaning we can feel happy one moment and then really angry the next, and this can lead to us being incredibly unpredictable. And BPD as a whole is characterized by an intense fear of abandonment and emotion dysregulation. Here are
4 types of borderline personality disorder. So the next thing I want to get into is PTSD. And I'm sure we've all heard about this. We watch plenty of movies. You watch movies about war and disaster and things like that. One thing that really stuck with me all of these years is what happened to the people of New Orleans, right? So we look at Katrina. People were affected by Katrina, and then they still decided to move back because, you know, it's your home, right? It's where you're from. It's where you love. It's where you've created all these memories. That was always one of the things that stuck out to me. 9/11 is also something that a lot of people still suffer with PTSD. Living in the city of Philadelphia, let's just call a thing a thing. Living in the city of Philadelphia can cause someone to have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Being a victim or a witness of gun violence, or even losing someone, right? Grief can cause us to have PTSD. Even if it's someone that you see like pass away in front of you. Like I know with my dad had cancer. By the time he found out he had cancer, he had stage 4. Absolutely big exclusive. And it's crazy because I went to New Orleans a couple years ago, and you could still see like the waterline marks. They talk about the 9th ward. They basically say that you're not allowed to go to the 9th ward, and they were probably the most affected area. But of course, we know why, because they're Black and brown people. So it's going to take a real long time, real long time for them to get the relief that they need. My Uber driver, I remember when they picked us up from the airport, it was like the 9th ward. You can't go down to the 9th ward unless you know somebody. Like if you don't know nobody, they don't let you come down there because it's just all the people that moved back down there. We did a croc tour? Like you go in the water, you do the croc tour, and we saw like the bridges that had fell that were still underwater. it just was really sad to see that you guys just they kind of just pushed past it. It was like, all right, well, we're still a tourist, place, and we got to just keep business flowing. And it's like, but what about all the people that were neglected, that were displaced, that had to leave, that had to, I know Philadelphia was like a sanctuary city where a lot of people came here and got housing that were affected by Katrina. But again, they opened up shop like it was nothing. They built, rebuilt the levees and call themselves putting something else there to prevent that from happening again. But again, these are Black and brown people that were affected, so I highly doubt they did a good enough job with it. So something like that could cause PTSD. I remember when my dad was passing away, they told us that he had 6 months to live. And it was literally 6 months that he had to live. By the time we found out he had cancer, he was already at stage 4 cancer. So it wasn't really much to do. It was more or less just keeping him comfortable. And I remember like struggling with that for a really long time. And I think we talked about this when we talked about grief. For me, I went through the anticipatory grief stage, where anticipatory grief is when you anticipate that that person is going to die because they have some type of terminal illness, they're going to die. So you begin to prepare life as if that person is already gone. So you start existing as if that person has already passed away, even though the person is still here and has not passed away. For me, I would say it was traumatic because I was like 12 when I lost my dad. I was a daddy's girl. It took me a really, 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 really long time to get past that, to literally sit there and see someone that I love, that I've known for 12 years of my life, slowly begin to slip away from me. So it was very traumatic for me. Eventually, a lot of counseling, a lot of therapy. So when I tell y'all guys to go to therapy, it's nothing that I haven't tried myself. But grief can cause someone to have post-traumatic stress disorder. So let's talk about what post-traumatic stress disorder is. So post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD for short, is a disorder that develops in some people who have experienced a shocking, scary, or dangerous event. It is natural to feel afraid during or after a traumatic situation. Fear is a part of the body's fight or flight. We've talked about that, right? That's a trauma response, fight or flight, which helps people or helps us to avoid or respond to potential danger. I told y'all, my fight or flight, my trauma response is fight. It's always fight. I choose violence every day. People may experience a range of reactions after trauma, and most people recover from initial symptoms over time. Those who continue to experience problems may be diagnosed with PTSD. So who gets PTSD? Like, why I gotta chill, big exclusive? Yeah, fuck cancer. And that's on Mary and all her lambs. Hey, Deandra. Shout out to Deandra. As I think we've talked about this last couple times, but sending my prayers and condolences to Deandra and her family. I'm here if you want to talk. The pain that you are going through, sweetheart, I have been there. As I tell you guys all the time, it never gets easier, but it does become bearable. So I am here if you need to talk. Or just, I'll listen, and we don't got to say nothing. Okay. You want me to fly to Florida? I'll come see you. It's about that time for a vacation anyway. I've been saying that I'm gonna take some days off of work. So who gets PTSD, right? Is it a race thing? Is it a gender thing? Who gets it? So anyone can develop PTSD at any age. This includes combat veterans and people who have experienced or witnessed a physical or sexual assault, abuse, an accident, a disaster, or other serious events. People who have PTSD may feel stressed or frightened even when they are not in danger. Not everyone with PTSD has been through a dangerous event. Sometimes learning that a friend or a family member experienced trauma can be PTSD. So we call that vicarious trauma. So vicarious trauma is when you have not experienced the trauma. Absolutely. When you have not experienced the trauma yourself. I'm so sorry to hear that, Auntie. We're going to have to talk. Okay. We have to have some wine. You got your wine, Auntie. You can forget some tequila. You did say you like tequila. Vicarious trauma is when you have not experienced a traumatic event yourself, but you live vicariously through someone who has. So again, I think everyone that lives in the city of Philadelphia has some form of vicarious trauma with all of the gun violence. I think that everybody that is a Black and brown person, and I'm not saying this is 100% fact, I'm just telling you what I think, every Black and brown person, has vicarious trauma when we look at all of the murders that happen by the hands of law enforcement when it comes to Black and brown people. The feeling that we get when we are in a car and the cop turns and starts following us. We ain't did nothing, right? Like, everything is legit, registration, license, proof of insurance. The fear that ensues our bodies and our minds, the thoughts that start going through our mind and start rummaging through our mind, those intrusive thoughts that start to kick our ass when a cop gets behind us as a Black and brown person, that panic, that fear, your heart starts to race, because we know what has happened to our Black and brown brothers and sisters. It literally is one of the scariest things to experience as a person of color. Absolutely. Knowing what has happened to our Black and brown brothers and sisters, because let's be clear, it don't just happen to Black men, it happens to Black women too, unfortunately. The fear of being in your house, sleep, minding your business, and the cops busting in and you dead. All of those things are considered vicarious trauma. When you think about those things and it ensues some type of fear or trauma response in you, that is vicarious trauma. No, it has not happened directly to you, but it has happened to someone that, in this sense, someone you can identify with because they're the same race and ethnicity as you. And so PTSD can be developed by something that you experience through someone else. But again, we call that vicarious trauma. So, according to the National Center for PTSD, listen, and it's wild, but they'll never be able to fathom it, big exclusive, because they don't experience it. It's not the same for them. They don't have to have these talks with their kids before our kids leave out the house, before they get behind a car, before they walk to school, before they decide to put a hoodie on, and go to the corner store and get some Skittles and a Arizona iced tea. They don't have to have these conversations with their kids. We do. And so they're never going to understand it because they've never been put in a position where they had to understand it. So according to the National Center for PTSD, a program of the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs says that about 6 out of every 100 people will experience PTSD at some point in their lives. Women are more likely, listen to this, more likely to develop PTSD than men. Certain aspects of the traumatic event and some biological factors, such as genes, may make some people more likely to develop PTSD. I know being a mother is giving birth to a child is literally the scariest thing ever. It is the greatest gift ever, but it is literally the scariest thing because it is the closest thing to death for women. Our body goes through so much when we are bringing life into this world. Like, our hearts literally can stop. Our blood pressure starts to fluctuate. The amount of pain that happens. We can have a bad response, a bad reaction to the epidural or whatever other medicine, the Pitocin, to, get our labor started. Like, it literally could go left at any given time with women. And so when you hear about all these horror stories, you hear about the medical field, you hear about how Black women in particular are underserved in the medical field and how our pain is not taken serious enough. I think I shared this with you guys when I had my son. I had to get a C-section. I asked for medication. Allegedly, it took a really long time to get medication. And I had 2 people that had jumped in front of me because they had to have emergency C-sections. And by the time this was hours later. I think I went in the hospital at like 8 o'clock that morning, like 8:15. By the time I had my son at 2:42 in the afternoon, I was in pain that entire time. My cries for some type of relief were ignored. And so I always say, as Black women, when it comes to like finding someone you trust, find you a doula, find you a midwife, I would prefer a person of color if you are going to give birth or go into labor with your child, because you want to make sure that your pain and your cries are heard and that they're not being ignored, and you're not being like, oh, it's fine, toughing it out, you're okay, you got this, breathe. I want to hear that shit. Where is the medicine, lady? But oftentimes we do experience that. Even when it comes to our own mental health, it is ignored a lot of times as Black and brown people because we're strong. I'm a strong Black woman, so I can't have mental health. I can't have mental illness. You a strong Black man. Stop crying. Stop whipping up. Be a man up, right? So men can't express how they feel. They can't say that they're feeling anxious. They can't say that they're feeling depressed because you're a strong Black man and you're a strong Black woman. So you got to toughen it out. So that alone just gave me PTSD. I ain't even gonna hold y'all. So what are the signs and symptoms of PTSD? So symptoms of PTSD usually begin with within 3 months of a traumatic event. So usually within 3 months, you will start to have symptoms of traumatic or PTSD, but they sometimes emerge later. To meet the criteria for PTSD, a person must have symptoms for longer than 1 month, and symptoms must be severe enough to interfere with aspects of daily life, such as relationships or work. The symptoms also must be unrelated to medication, substance use, or other illnesses. So, in order to be diagnosed with PTSD, it cannot be related to some type of medication you're on, whether it's a benzodiazepine, SSRI, some type of antipsychotic medication. It can't be because you have some form of an addiction. um right, stop that. I want to be strong. I don't want to be strong. Put that down. Put that word down. Put it in your pocket. Don't hold on to it. Matter of fact, take it out your pocket and throw it in the trash. I'm tired of that. Like, we got to be strong. Let us have our weak moments too, right? um or any other type of illness that you may have. So if you have any of those three things, it may be hard to be diagnosed with PTSD disorder, and maybe you are addicted to alcohol. Told y'all those two do not go together, because you already have your own auditory and visual hallucinations that come with the mental illness. So then drinking or using street drugs does not help. It actually amplifies everything that you think you are hearing and seeing. After a dangerous event, it is natural to have some symptoms. For example, some people may feel detached from the experience, as though they are observing things rather than experiencing them. A mental health professional who has experience helping people with PTSD, such as a psychiatrist, a psychologist, or a clinical social worker, can determine whether symptoms meet the criteria for PTSD. So, to be diagnosed with PTSD, an adult must have all of the following for at least 1 month: at least one re-experiencing symptom, at least one avoidant symptom, at least two arousal and reactive symptoms, and at least two cognition and mood symptoms. So let's talk about what it is for a re-experiencing symptom and what does that include. So a re-experiencing symptom are basically flashbacks. You have flashbacks of the event, the traumatic event that has occurred. You are reliving the traumatic event. It includes physical symptoms such as a racing heart or sweating. Your body will start to go through these things when you have those flashbacks. Having reoccurring memories or dreams related to the event. Having distressing thoughts. Experiencing physical signs of stress. Thoughts and feelings can trigger these symptoms, as can words, objects, or situations that are reminders of the event. So this is what we call re-experiencing symptoms. That is what that is. Now, avoidance symptoms include staying away from that place, right? Staying away from places, events, or objects that are reminders of the traumatic experience. Avoiding thoughts and feelings related to the traumatic experience. So you literally are avoiding going to certain places, arriving at certain events, or any object that may remind you of that. Example, if you develop PTSD because you got into a really bad car accident, people that do get into really bad car accidents may never want to drive again. They may not even want to be in anyone's car. They may not trust someone driving, or they may not ever want to get a car again. I know plenty of people like that get into really bad car accidents and be like, you know what, I'm done with driving. That's it. That was my one and done. Now, arousal and reactive symptoms include being easily startled, feeling tense or on guard or on edge, having difficulty concentrating, having difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, feeling irritable and having angry or aggressive outbursts, engaging in risky, reckless, or destructive behavior. This is what arousal and reactivity symptoms include. Now, cognition and mood symptoms include having trouble remembering key features of the traumatic event, right? So a part of your brain is trying to suppress what has happened to you, where you are literally losing or blocking out key parts of the traumatic event. Having negative thoughts about oneself or the world. Having exaggerated feelings of blame directed towards oneself or others. Having ongoing negative emotions such as fear, anger, guilt, or shame. Losing interest in enjoyable activities. Having feelings of social isolation, or having difficulty feeling positive emotions such as happiness or satisfaction. So you're never satisfied, you're never happy. Cognition and mood symptoms can begin or worsen after the traumatic event. They can lead to a person feeling detached from friends or family. Again, if you are feeling isolated, detached from, a traumatic event, you can't shake those intrusive thoughts, you are having thoughts of suicide, please, again, text or call 988. That is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Or you can chat at 988lifeline.org. Or again, call 911. Okay? So PTSD is one of those things that also can have you feeling, like you don't want to be here. Having feelings of just a negative emotion, self-isolating, taking yourself away from others due to the traumatic event. I actually think I have a video on PTSD. Let's go to the video number 3.
What does PTSD look like? You have 4 groups of symptoms. Intrusion symptoms, where memories of the event just pop into your mind at times that you don't want it to. And this can be nightmares, or it can be thoughts that happen during the day. There's avoidance symptoms of things that remind you of the trauma. Someone who had a bad car accident may never want to drive again or even get into a car again. Then there's negative thoughts or moods associated with the trauma. An example of this would be someone who feels like they just don't think that they're going to live very long. They don't necessarily know why. That's just the feeling that they have. Or they have the constant thought that something else bad is going to happen. The 4th group of symptoms involve being on edge or hyperreactive. And this is where you can get the anger outbursts. Or the person can have trouble sleeping because they're checking locks in the middle of the night. To have PTSD, you need 1 or 2 symptoms from all 4 groups occurring at the same time.
So that is PTSD. So now let's get to how PTSD is treated. So it is important for anyone that has PTSD, suffering with PTSD, or have any of these symptoms that you work with a mental health professional who has experience treating PTSD. Like I always tell you guys, when you look for a therapist, you want to go to like their bio or like their clinical catalog and see what they specialize in, because every therapist does not specialize in the same thing. Every therapist, does not specialize in PTSD. Every therapist does not specialize in working with people from the LGBTQIA community. Every therapist does not work with people that have depression or personality or mood disorder. So it's very important when you pick your therapist that you pick someone that has experience dealing and handling with what you believe your symptoms are. I do PTSD, but that's also because my background is trauma. But again, you have to find a therapist that is keen to what it is you're going to. Can you imagine walking into therapy, having PTSD or experience some type of traumatic event, and you walk into this therapist's office and they have no experience with PTSD, and all they do the entire session is trigger you after trigger after trigger after trigger, and you're looking at them like, what the hell is going on? You want someone that is aware of trauma and what it all entails, what it looks like, what are the nonverbals of someone that has PTSD or vicarious trauma or any type of trauma. You want someone that is aware of trauma responses. I told you guys before, fight or flight, but those are not the only trauma responses. You have fight, flight, fawn, freeze, flop. And I think we did an episode on that, but I'll bring it back in the new year. You want someone that can identify. You want someone that can read your nonverbals. When you are sharing a traumatic event, what is happening with your body? Is your face, are you smiling, but your hands are shaking, your legs are shaking, you're tapping your legs? Are you sweating profusely? Can I hear your daggone heartbeat? Like, are you rocking back and forth? Have you gone from an open stance to now you're like this, or you're like this, or you keep looking towards the door, or you keep looking towards the window as you are telling your story? So again, when you guys are picking out a therapist, make sure you pick someone that has a specialty or specializes in the symptoms that you are bringing. Now, some of us have symptoms and we be out here on WebMD trying to self-diagnose ourselves. Please don't do that. Don't go on WebMD. Don't go on Wikipedia. Go to a professional mental health person, a psychiatrist, psychologist. clinical social worker, licensed therapist, even a master level therapist like myself, you can go because we have the education and we have the experience of working with clients. Go to someone that can cater to your needs, that specialize. And if they can't, a good therapist should be like, I don't specialize in that, but I can refer you to X, Y, and Z. Oh, thank you. Be right back, as always. Yes. Oh, yeah. Got to get that snack ready for the game. I'm about to wrap it up too, honey bug. It's time to go. Time to wrap this on up. So yes, when it comes to PTSD, make sure that you find someone that specializes in it. So here are 3 ways that we treat PTSD. The first is psychotherapy, which is AKA talk therapy. Exposure therapy, where over time the therapist will work to expose you to the thing that you were traumatized with. And cognition restructuring, where therapists will work to make sense of the traumatic event. Sometimes we'll remember differently how the traumatic event happened. We'll leave out some parts. You may even feel guilty or shame about it. And we are here to restructure your thinking for you to understand that it is not your fault of what happened, how it happened, but to get you out of those negative, intrusive thoughts and to get you with more positive thoughts. I am going to leave you guys with one video. It is about boundaries. Again, the holiday season is coming up. Please don't feel like you are forced to break bread or partake with people that you just don't necessarily like. Let's just call a thing, right? Or someone that has unfortunately abused you physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually. Don't feel like you have to be at the dinner table with that uncle, that auntie, that cousin. A lot of times we do things out of obligation and people will try to guilt us like that's family. And yeah, I ain't trying to hear none of that. Do not put yourself into a situation where you're uncomfortable this season. No is a complete sentence. If no is no, then no is no. If you do not want to be there, or even if you decide you're working on your healing journey and you do want to go, if you need a second or a moment, it is okay to say that. It's okay to verbalize it. You know what? I need a second. I need a moment. If they want you to come sit next to them and talk, hey, listen, I need a second. I need a moment. Go do what the cousins do at Thanksgiving and Christmas. Y'all know the cousins. Y'all know what they go do. Go take your walk. Go get some fresh air. Count backwards from 10. Do some breathing exercises. Do some of the grounding techniques that we've done over this close to almost a year now. But have your moment. Or if you just simply cannot bring yourself to it, that's okay too. Hey guys, listen, I'm not going to make it, but I'll catch you guys next time. I hope you guys have a great holiday. I've done that before. I've stayed in my house on Christmas because I did not want to be bothered by anybody. So remember that boundaries are important. Boundaries are our right to have. So I'm going to leave you guys with a video. I will see you guys not next Monday because next Monday is Christmas. So y'all will not see me. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday. Spend time with your loved ones. If you celebrate it, if you do not, then take your day off to yourself. But love on the people that we still have with us. Remember those that we do not have with us. It's not about the gifts. It is about the people that we love and allowing us to have another day with them, because life is so short and it is often taken for granted, and we can literally be here today and go on tomorrow. I love you guys. Make sure you tune in for the rest of the week for the Big Exclusive podcast tomorrow at 7 with Big Exclusive, Angry OG, and Top Flight. It's going to be dusty as always. Then you're going to jump over to Thursday for the Amp Money Experience. I'm actually going to be a co-host on that show on Thursday. We're going to get into some stuff, so make sure you guys tune in on Thursday. I love you guys. I will see you guys the Monday after Christmas. I think that's the 20. I don't know what day that is. Actually, I don't know. I think, yeah, this is the last Monday of the year, guys. It's been a great year. I thank you guys so much for tuning in every Monday at 7 p.m. to Melanated Vibrations. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see you guys in the new year, bringing back different topics, new topics, more guests, and more education. Don't forget those boundaries, guys. Check this video out and then go watch the Eagles bust the Seahawks ass. Bye. Oh, yes. I'll be here on Friday, too. I forgot about the show on Friday. Yes, make sure y'all come back on Friday, too. I'm going to be there. We are having a special holiday show, a live show with the Big Exclusive Network family. So Tuesday, big exclusive podcast, Thursday, Ant Money Experience, and then catch me back here on Friday for our live show. So I'll be here all week. Catch me in the comments or catch me in a chair. I love you guys. Bye.
All right, y'all. So some people think that you should not have boundaries if you love them. Y'all, that is false. Let's get into it. Boundaries are a form of self-love. The people that do not want you to have boundaries are the people that benefit from your lack of boundaries. Here's a quote I want to share with you. Daring to set boundaries in relationships is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. Unfortunately, y'all, we live in a world where people are inherently selfish, looking out for their own best interests. That doesn't make them bad people. It makes them human. And some of us, because of our brokenness, because of trauma in childhood or other relationships, we therefore then overcompensate, audition, feel the need to perform for someone's love. And there are a lot of people who will take advantage of that. So y'all set boundaries. Sometimes you gotta say no. And that's okay. Gotta give yourself oxygen first.